Krishna ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्यं नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयो मुदीरये। नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवति उत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्ठकी। कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय देवकी नंदनाय च नन्दगोपकुमाराय गोविन्दाय नमो नमः। So reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 4, Shloka number 20. रग यजुर साम अथर्वख्या रग यजुर साम अथर्वख्या वेदाश्चत्वार उद्धृता इतिहास पुराणं च पंचमो वेद उच्यते। रग यजुर साम अथर्वख्या वेदाश्चत्वार उद्धृता इतिहास पुराणं च पंचमो वेद उच्यते। रग यजुर साम अथर्वख्या वेदाश्चत्वार उद्धृतः इतिहास पुराणं च पंचमो वेद उच्यते। रग यजुर साम अथर्वख्या वेदाश्चत्वार उद्धृतः इतिहास पुराणं च पंचमो वेद उच्यते। वेदाश्चत्वार उद्धृतः इतिहास पुराणं च पंचमो वेद उच्यते।
ऋग्यजुः साम अथर्वाख्य वेदाश्चत्वार उद्धृताः इतिहास पुराणानां पंचमो वेद उच्यते।
वेदाश्चत्वार उद्धृतः इतिहास पुराणं च पंचमो वेद उच्यते। Okay, synonymous, what we are translation from Srila. Raga Yajur Sama Atharvakya, the names of the four Vedas. Vedaha, the Vedas. Chaturvaha, four. Udhritaha, made into separate parts. Itihasa, historical records. Mahabharata, Puranamcha, and the Puranas. Panchamaha, the fifth. Vedaha, the original source of knowledge. Uchyate, is said to be. Translation by Prabhupada. The four divisions of the original sources of knowledge, the Vedas, were made separately, but the historical facts and authentic stories mentioned in the Puranas are called the fifth Veda. I've been told to take it from 20 to 23, so I'll just read the translation of another three shlokas. 1.4.21. After the Vedas were divided into four divisions, Paila Rishi became the professor of the Rig Veda, Jaimini the professor of the Sama Veda, and Vaishampayana alone became glorified by the Yajur Veda. Okay. The different Vedas were entrusted to different learned scholars for development in various ways. 1.4.22 translation. The Samanta Muni Angira, who was very devotedly engaged, was entrusted with the Atharva Veda, and my father, Ramaharshana, was entrusted with the Puranas and historical records. In the Shruti Mantras also it is stated that Angira Muni, who strictly followed the rigid principles of the Atharva Veda, was the leader of the followers of Atharva Veda. 1.4.23 translation. All these learned scholars in their turn rendered their interested Vedas unto their many disciples, grand disciples and great grand disciples, and thus the respective branches of the followers of the Vedas came into being. The original source of knowledge is the Vedas. There are no branches of knowledge, either mundane or transcendental, which do not belong to the original text of the Vedas. They have simply been developed into different branches. They were originally rendered by great, respectable and learned professors. In other words, the Vedic knowledge broken into different branches by different disciplic successions has been distributed all over the world. No one therefore can claim independent knowledge beyond the Vedas. Since there is not much in the history proposed, I'll also take the liberty to just read to get the context right. The next shloka 1.4.24. There is a great sage, Vyasadeva, who is very kind to the ignorant masses, edited the Vedas so they might be assimilated by less intellectual men. The Veda is one, and the reasons for its divisions in many parts are explained herewith. The seed of all knowledge of the Veda is not a subject matter which can easily be understood by any ordinary man. There is a stricture that no one should try to learn the Vedas who is not a qualified Brahmana. Thus, stricture has been wrongly interpreted in so many ways. A class of men who claim Brahmanical qualification simply by their birthright in the family of a Brahmana claim that the study of the Vedas is the monopoly of the Brahmana caste only. Another section of the people take this as an injustice to members of other castes who do not happen to take birth in the Brahmanical family. But both of them are misguided. The Vedas are subjects which had to be explained even to Brahmaji by the Supreme Lord. Therefore, the subject matter is understood by persons with exceptional qualities of goodness. Persons who are in the mode of passion and ignorance are unable to understand the subject matter of the Vedas, the ultimate goal of Vedic knowledge, is Sri Krishna, the person of Godhead. This personality is very rarely understood by those who are in the mode of passion and ignorance. In the Satya Yuga, everyone was situated in the mode of goodness. Gradually, the mode of goodness declined during the Treta and Dwapara Yuga, and the general mass of people became corrupt. In the present age, the mode of goodness is almost nil, and so for the general mass of people, the kind-hearted, powerful sage Srila Vyasadeva divided the Vedas in various ways so that they may be practically followed by less intelligent persons in the modes of passion and ignorance. It is explained in the next So Om Jnantimirandasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshuranjalitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kathaparyam Tadati Svapadatitam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Vrindavanagamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavamsa Shri Rimam Sagrajatam Sagaradamanatharutam Naksajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parjana Saritam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Saharana Dalita Shri Vishakhatam Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Krishnaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamini Tinadini Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Kacharine Nirvishesha Shuddhavadi Paschat Desha Karine Vancha Kalpataru Desha Kripa Sindhupateva Cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namane Gauratrishe Namaha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deenabandhu Jagapate Gopesha Gopika Karta Radha Kanda Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurani Radhe Vrindaveshwari Vrishabhanu Devi Pranamami Havidriye Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasari Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Mukundavati Vachara So I see blessings at the University of all senior Vaishnavas and Sangal here. I have no qualification and qualification. Always we are ambassador, but only to honor the request of the authorities and to glorify the Lord. I'll try to speak something for my own certification. So kindly have your blessings upon me. So welcome all for this morning Srimad Bhagavatam class. So this is chapter 4, Canto 1, named The Appearance of Sri Narada. So I was just to get the context right, how this chapter has been divided into different sections. The first two shlokas they talk about Shaunaka Rishi, the leader of the assembly, glorifies Srila Goswami. Then in shloka number 3, the questions about the history of Bhagavatam is asked. From shloka 4 to 8, the qualities and questions about Sukadeva Goswami, like how was he received at Hastinapura and how did he meet Parikshit, those kind of questions are asked. From shloka number 9 to 12, the questions about the Parikshit Maharaj, how his birth, how his activities and how his death was glorious. Shloka number 12 to 18, the Vyasadeva saw the anomalies and degraded qualities of the people of Kali Yuga. And today we will be looking at shloka number 19 to 23. We are going to talk about to simplify and expand the Veda amongst Kali Yuga people. Vyasadeva divided it into 4 and entrusted it to his disciples. After this 24 to 25, he compiled the Mahabharata for ladies, Shudras and Vijabandhus. 26 to 27, in spite of all this welfare work, he was dissatisfied. And last 4 shlokas, 28 to 31, despite my vows, worship and writings, how Vyasadeva was feeling very despondent, incomplete and very morose because I have not pointed out the devotional service, direct glorification of the Lord. That is how the flow of this particular chapter is. Now in this particular chapter we are specifically going to talk about the different divisions of the Vedas, how it has been done. So just to begin with, to understand, how the different human accomplishments, can be categorized. There are primarily 4 lakh species of human beings, and everybody has the different categories and the different consciousness. And it is considered the most difficult to achieve if at all there are any 2 things to be categorized or to be spoken that most difficult to achieve to the human beings, what they would be. So primarily it is said that firstly it is endeavor to be happy in this material world is most difficult. Like we see, everybody is at the core, it is a happiness, and everybody is struggling in this world to become happy. But why it is so difficult to become happy in this world? Because Krishna says in the Gita that this material world he has designed as Dukhanam Ashashvatam. So when we try to become happy in this material world, in materialistic way, we always get frustrated because it is trying to do something against how the world has been designed. And secondly, what is most difficult is to attempt to get out of this material world. Now, primarily, it is said that we were there in the spiritual world and somehow we have degraded or descended in this particular material world because we wanted to enjoy, we wanted to lord over the nature, we wanted to be happy, devoid of the God or keeping the God aside. We wanted to have our own enjoyment, and there is a kind of an envy in our heart for the Lord. So that is what has been said as the purpose, the reason basically why we are here. So when we are with that particular purpose in this particular world, to get out of this particular world, it is very difficult because we need to start our journey totally opposite in the direction the way we are coming. And that is the reason why it is so difficult. And it is said that this particular, the prison house of material world has been guarded by the Durga Devi. Unless one is really, really qualified, it is very difficult to make somebody the way out of this. So these are the two difficult things basically to endeavor in this material world. To understand this more clearly, we can take the analogy of course it might have been discussed many times, but we'll take this again. The analogy of prison house. There are different categories of the prisoners in the prison house. The class 1, class 2, class 3. There is sometimes very high profile prisoners, they are house arrested dignitaries. But we can also categorize the different prisoners based on how is their conduct in the prison house. Like the first category of the prisoners are those that they have done a lot of nefarious activities in the external world outside, and that is the reason they have been put inside the jail. But sometimes it is said that people do not learn, and the similar activities people continue to carry out even in the prison houses. So that is the reason why we see there are a lot of even antisocial activities are happening inside the jail. There is a fighting happens. There sometimes also the murders, kind of heinous acts happen inside the prison. There are also, if you spend some money and the corruption is so prevalent everywhere, it is also prevalent in the jail. So if you want to have the intoxication, smoke, you want to have the drugs, that is also possible to get it inside the jail basically. So this is the first category which they have not learned anything. They are outside because of some reasons, they have done antisocial activities, they are put it inside the prison. But inside the prison also they continue with the similar kind of activities. Maybe because of that, it so happens that their prison tenure is getting extended, they might have to go for the larger time or more severe kind of a punishments into the prison. The second type of prisoners are those, once they get in, they want to settle down there in terms of how they want to settle down there like they want to see the comforts. Like some people will say that they'll seek the permissions to meet their spouses like once in 15 days, or sometimes they'll do the special request to make a phone call, of course, which can be recorded, or sometimes they'll request that the very bad food in the prison is not good, and they'll request to some magistrate and get the permission to have the home food and stuff like that. So they'll try to seek these different kind of concessions in the prison itself. Prabhupada used to say, there's one young boy, he did some heinous act and he was imprisoned for that particular crime. And he was given the punishment of breaking the stones or cutting the stones. But he was smart and he wanted some concessions, so he went to the jailer and he said that, I know the typing, so if you have any typing kind of a work, I would like to help you in that. And somehow jailer was too busy or he was not doing the typing, whatever the reason, he was selected to do the typing work for that particular jailer. So he got that particular concession of not having to do the hardship, inside the hot sun out, breaking the stones, but he got some concession, but it is still the prison. So that is the second category of the prisoners. There could be a third category of the prisoners. They are repentful. First of all, they have got regret that whatever reason they have done the crime and they have been given the punishment to be into the jail, and they are regretful about it, right? So how is their conduct in the prison? They'll be very law-abiding. They'll be strict, abiding to the rules and regulations, because they have burned their fingers once and they don't want to do it again. And they would want to get out of this dungeon as fast as possible. Probably they will try to seek the concessions in terms of, because of the good conduct, they request that they should be relieved as early as possible from this particular prison house. So those are the most law-abiding, and the true prisoners for which the prison is made of, basically. The reason for the prison is to people to repent, understand why they have been put up here and regret that, and then accept the rules of the normal society and go back and live a happy life there. So that was the purpose. And they are the real ones. Similarly, in this material world, if you see, the general mass also can be divided into similar three categories. The first is the people who their reason here because of their enemies, they have done some nefarious activities, probably in the spiritual world also, and they have been put up here because of the stubbornness to enjoy the material world. But this is kind of a degradation. And they further want to degrade themselves, and they are into the similar kind of activities. They'll do all anti-social activities. And because of that, it is possible that because they have learned the lessons, they will be sent to the more severe, deeper, hellish lives, or might be thrown into the animal species of life. So that is the first category. The second category of the people are those in this world, like they are good with the birth, good with the family, they might have done the hardship and might have earned the money because of their previous pious karmas, and they are now in the comfort zone. Now they think that this is the heaven itself and they want to enjoy here and prolong their lives as long as possible. So that is the second category of the people, they are just happy here basically. And third category of the people are those who have understood the reason why they have been here. They have understood or realized the Dukhalam or Shashvatam nature of this particular world, and they have really come to the point where they are completely frustrated for doing the endeavors to be happy in this material itself. So how is their conduct will be? They are trying to seek basically how we get out of it. And those are the ones who are most law-abiding community to the spiritual rules and regulations. And there are very few, probably like the ones who are sitting here, and some people like that. So when any prisoner is put into the prison house, there is an induction program there. So it's been told basically what is the jail about, what is they supposed to do, what is expected out of you, and things like that, and how you can even get out of it. Even we get into the new job in some new office, there's an induction program. People are told basically that what is your job, what is your role, what is been considered as a good conduct, what is been considered as a bad conduct and stuff like that. Sometimes the booklet is also given. So similarly, for people like us, the scripture, of course, there are many dimensions to the scriptures, but one dimension to the scripture is that it is an induction program. So those people who have reached that brink where they do not anymore want to stay in this material world, they start looking for those kind of ways and scriptures wherein they'll find some guidance that how to get out of this. I don't think anybody in this world who has not ever heard there are scriptures available. And of course, we're Indians, so we know definitely everybody must have heard about the Srimad Bhagavatam. And most of the people know about the Bhagavad Puran. So, if one wants, there is access available for these people to know what is the user's manual, which is the scriptures, and understand it and go back. So that is how it is. So now these scriptures, when it was original, this is called the original knowledge of the Vedas, comes from the Krishna. It is said that it is a transcendental flute expanded as the Gayatri Mantra, and which is expanded as Vedas in the heart of the Brahma, who is the engineer of this particular universe. And so he assimilated that particular knowledge, and then he entrusted it, given that particular knowledge to many of his sons and his disciples. So Vyasa is such one person who is holding this particular knowledge and being instrumental in subdividing it. So Vyasa is called a Trikalagya. So he is called Trikalagya because he can see three kalas, 3 times. He can see the past, he is seeing the present, and he is seeing the future also. Because he is an exalted personality, he's got a transcendental vision. We have seen in the Mahabharata that Sanjaya was given the transcendental vision by Vyasadevji. Right? He could see what has happened in the Mahabharata, in the Kurukshetra. Also we see when the Vyasadeva's mother Satyavati was there in the Hastinapura, Vyasadev, and when the Dhritarashtra was enthroned to take over after the demise of the Pandu Maharaj, when Dhritarashtra was enthroned, Vyasadevji came and he told Satyavati, who is the mother, the wife of Shantanu Maharaj, that you must now abandon this particular palace and go to Vana, or come with me into the Vana. And when Satyavati asked that why it is so, that then Vyasadeva told her that what is going to happen now in the near future, you won't be able to see it. It is something such a bad which is going to happen now going forward, because he had that particular vision. So similarly, Vyasadeva had this particular vision that, of course, at the Vyasadeva's birth is basically at the beginning of the Dwapar Yuga, and when he is writing these scriptures, that is at the end of the Dwapar Yuga. So he had this particular vision, and even if we saw in the chapter 1 of the Bhagavatam, in this particular canto, that Rishis of the Naimisharanya have predicted the qualities of the Kali Yuga. It is said that Pratyena Parishya Sabhya Kalav Asmin Yuge Jana Manda Simanda Matayo Manda Bhagya Upadratana. So these people in the Kali Yugas will be reduced with the reduced life, with the reduced memory, with the reduced intelligence. They'll be lazy. I mean, we do not say anybody lazy. Everybody is so active as far as the material things are concerned, but people are spiritually lazy. They're unfortunate. There are a lot of anarthas in. They're quarrelsome. People do not have the patience and tolerance. They'll be always disturbed. So Vyasa has already seen it. And for the benefit of such people, he decides to divide this one particular Veda, the body of knowledge, into 4. Now if you see the parallel between the Rishis in the Naimisharanya and the Vyasadeva, they both wanted to do something good for the people in the Kali Yuga. The Naimisharanya people, they started doing yajna for 1000 years so that the people in the Kali Yuga can get benefited. Likewise, Vyasadeva, who is the literal incarnation of the Lord, he is thinking that I should be able to, or I should break this particular knowledge into the four and then subdivide it further through the disabling succession of the different rishis, so that this knowledge is more assimilated, more malleable, more acceptable, more relatable, more relatable to the people of today's time. So there is a parallel between, because these rishis, there is a qualities of the rishis. They always think that how can I do the best for the people of Kali Yuga. So in this particular slok number 23, we saw that it is said that all these learned scholars in their turn rendered their, so this, the Kaila Rishi, Vaishambhayana Rishi, Atra Rishi and Angira Rishi, so they have entrusted this particular knowledge to their different disciples. So they said that they rendered their entrusted Vedas into their many disciples, grand disciples and great grand disciples, and thus the respective branches of the followers of the Vedas came into being. So that is how the disabling succession of the different Vedas into the different branches has started. So I was just trying to do some, because we always, always have heard about the Vedas but not really sure what is all contains the Vedas. So, and how it is been given into the next generation. So primarily it is given through the Guru Shishya Parampara, as you know it. Other thing is basically through the manuscripts. So how it has been written forward it was given down. We also see this all the Shastras, they are in the inscriptions on the temples. Most of the temples have that. Even if we, as early as like we go to Dehu and we see Tukaram Maharaj's temple will be inaugurated by Narendra Modi. All the Abhangas written by the Tukaram Maharaj is inscribed basically on that particular temple. So likewise there are many other temples. It is said that more than 4,000 temples have been destructed by the Aurangzeb. So many temples had that particular tradition and ways of writing down what is there into the Vedas on the walls of the temple. So it is easily accessible to the people there. Now if you have to divide, of course there are many ways it can be done and many people have done it in different ways, but just to get a glimpse of it or to understand what the Vedas is and how do we divide it, it can be divided into primarily six sections. So when we say the Vedas, it is comprising firstly the Shruti, then it is the Smruti, then it is the Puranas, then it is the Itihasas, then it is the Agamas, and then it is the Siddhantas. So if you break this whole knowledge, we can break this into these 6 divisions. To just understand briefly what is Shruti means. So Shruti means is the knowledge which is heard by Brahmaji directly from Krishna. And that is the one single body of knowledge which Vyasadeva divided into 4 Vedas. The first is called Rig Veda. Of course, before it was broken, it was primarily called Yajur Veda. But it was broken into 3. First is Rig Veda. So Rig means the praise, to explain in various hymns, praising the elements of the nature, cosmos and the God. Yajur means worship. So it explains different procedures of worship, nature, cosmos and the God. Sama Veda is basically, Sama means song. So it gives the music driven, canonical format, different acceptable formats in which the different Vedas can be sung. So that is primarily what the Sama Veda is all about. Atharva Veda. So Atharva Veda is people for the stable mind. So it talks about the rules for the daily life activities. Then each of these 4 Vedas are again further divided into 4 internal blocks and 6 external blocks. So each Veda is further divided into Aranyaka, Brahmana, Samhitas and Upanishads. And there are 6 external blocks to it, subserving this whole knowledge. It is called Shiksha, Vyakarana, Chandas, Niruktas, Jyotisha and Kalpa. This is a little bit theoretical, but let's go through it for 5 minutes or so that we understand what the Veda means actually. So each of the 4 internal blocks of the Vedas called Aranyaka, Brahmana, Samhita and Upanishads describes the theosophical means the teaching about the God and the worlds and the mystic insights of this all. Philosophical, we know all. and physiological anatomy of the cosmos, how this world has been formed, and how the nature and the fundamental human existence has come about. And then we see the six external blocks called Shiksha. Shiksha means the phonetics, how the pronunciation of the Vedic language has happened. Vyakarana means about the grammar. Chandas, the linguistic rhythms of which the Vedas have to be sung. Then it is the history of the words and the different phrases. It's called the study of the etymology. Study of astrology, called Jyotisha, and the study of rituals is called Kalpa. Beyond this, there are Upavedas. They are called Ayurveda, the study of the medical science and life sciences. Gandharva Veda, which is the study of the music and art and dance. There is the Dhanurveda, which is the study of archery and the warfare, and Arthashastra, which is the study of the business administration. So this is all primarily is called the Shruti only. Now to look at what is Shruti means. So Shruti means the Shruti, which is the knowledge which has been given by the Brahma to different rishis. They have mastered the Shruti and brought their experiences and revelations into, or they have made this thing together. That is what is called the Shruti. So Shruti is much like a thesis, like we see the basically the PhD students, they take one particular principle and they write a thesis over it on which they get the PhD. So it is like that, the Shrutis are like that. So there are 18 Shrutis which have been described. I'll just go through few, and they are basically the rishis who have instrumental in making it, like Atri, Vishnu, Samhita, Vishnu Shruti, Angira Shruti, Yama Shruti, Katyayana Shruti, Parashara Shruti, Vyasa Shruti, like that. So there are 18 Shrutis like that. Then what is Puranas? So we know there are 18 Puranas. 666, 6 for the mode of goodness, 6 for the mode of passion, and 6 for the mode of ignorance. But there are 10 dimensions which have been described for this 18 Puranas. What are those? So 10 dimensions is basically what all has been described in those Puranas. The first is primarily the history of creation of cosmos, which is called Sarga. The history of creation of worlds, which is called Visarga. The history of evolution of life, how the life has sprung about, that is called Vritti. The history of sustenance of life, how do we sustain in this particular material world, is called Raksha. History of time scale is called Antarani. History of lineages, the different lineages, it has been described, it is called Vamsha. And there are histories of the different dynasties have been explained, which is called Vamasnu Charita. Then there is the Samstha, which is the history of the catastrophes happened. There is a history of the prime causes called Hetu, and the history of the Supreme Being, which is called Apasarya. Now this is what has been described into the 18 Puranas. I'm sure we have most of the time heard about the Bhagavad Purana, but there are 18 all of it. A few of them to name is like Markandeya Purana, Matsya Purana, Bhagavad Purana, Bhavishya Purana, Brahmanda Purana, Brahma Purana, Brahma Vaitarga Purana, Vishnu Purana, Varaha Purana, like that. It goes Shiva Purana, Karma Purana, and Skanda Purana. So this is all is called Puranas. After that, there is the Itihasas. So Itihas means what? Itihas means how it has happened in the past. So primarily we are acquainted with the two primary Itihasas called Ramayana and Mahabharata, and Bhagavad Gita is a part of the Mahabharata. Then there is something called Agamas. Agamas, along with other things, it primarily describes about the architectural and geometrical principles of temple constructions. So if you see many historical temple constructions, how meticulously and how architecturally rich they have been built. If you have gone, many of us have gone to Jagannath Puri or nearby the Konark Sun Temple, it is built so many years, probably hundreds of years, but how it has been glorified even today. Last time I had gone and happened to go there, although I was not very willing. But it is said that initially when the deity of the Surya design in the Konark temple was supposed to be floating in the air. So they have four magnets kept at the four sides, and when this it is made up of the metal, and when these four magnets are activated, this DT is supposed to float in the air, always like that. And whether the Surya is in the Dakshinayan or Uttarayan, always the first rays of the sun has to fall on the DT. So that is how intricate and this science was, and this is all been described in the Agamas. So there are 77 Shakti Agamas, 28 Shiva Agamas, 108 Vishnu Agamas that was described. And then there are different Siddhantas. So Siddhantas are established principles in the different branches of the science. In one field itself, there could be a different Siddhantas. So there are primarily 18 Siddhantas that can describe here. I'll not get into the details of it. Beyond that, there are many ancient Indian scientists and sages, and their whole lifetime work has been documented, and that has been also be the part of the Vedas, because ultimately the source of that is the Vedas. So it is called the Sushruta Samhita. Sushruta Samhita is from the Muni Sushruta, which is a surgical and medical science, which is a part of that. Aryabhatta we all know, which is the astrophysics. Arthashastra, of course, Chanakya. Then we have the Siddhanta of Pancha Siddhanta, we have the Patanjali Shastra, Yoga Shastra, we know basically have many yoga classes happening today. The Chakra Samhita principles about the Ayurveda, alchemy is called the Rasendra Mangalam, so also about the different rasas, the different chemicals, the science of that, what is being described. Then there are the principles of atomic theory and the principles of the calculus. So this is all being the part of the, so this is all, the Shrutis, Srutis, Purana, Itihasas, Agamas and Siddhanta, this whole is considered as the Vedas. Now just to look at it, basically the Aryabhatta is generally known because he is the one who has invented the zero. But if you see the different inventions he has done which are unknown to the whole world today, the one of the other principle what he has invented is the equation of speed, which is distance divided by the time. Now Galileo, he has invented this, reinvented this what Aryabhatta has already invented in back 1638, what is the date, what has been given in the Google. And the same thing was described was invented by Aryabhatta in 510 CE, that is the Christian era. So there is a gap of almost like 1,000 years between what Aryabhatta has invented and what Galileo in the modern science has invented. So just imagine 1,000 years, had this been known before 1,000 years, how much advancement would have been happening. So likewise we know that there are many schools of thoughts in India at that time. And different people from the different world used to come to India to know these particular sciences. And it is also said that most of the time this knowledge is stolen, taken away and stuff like that. So that was how the huge history of this particular Shastras and the Vedas. So why this division has happened? Why Vyasadeva has done this particular division? Because it is practically impossible if somebody wants something to access the whole Vedas and find out what is that I want. So that is the one reason why Vyasadeva has done this particular subdivision and started ball rolling, so that whoever wants it as per his varnashrama or as per his needs, he can access those particular things easily. Of course, previously it was possible to recite and remember all the Vedas because people had that kind of intelligence and sharper memories. Prabhupada used to say that sharper intelligence is the sign of intelligence. Sharper memory is the sign of intelligence. So, like that. If you see also in the Mumbai University, if you go under the Mumbai University umbrella or the Cambridge University, whatever university we go, there are different branches of the knowledge, right? The College of Art, College of Commerce, College of Science, College of Medicine, College of Engineering and all that. Likewise, these sages who has been interested in this particular knowledge, they have taken it up, and in their disciplic succession, this knowledge was further grown with the right principles. So in this, the one thing is spoken is about the Romaharshana Sutta, who was the father of the Sutta Goswami. So just to speak a little bit about him, that he was interested in these all Puranas and the historical facts, and he was giving a discourse. And that time Balramji was on pilgrimage, and he comes back there, and everybody gets up to receive him, welcome him. Uh, Romanchana thinks that I have been authorized and I'm sitting on the license, so it is probably not so required for me to get up and welcome the Balramji. So Balramji thinks this is an offense, and he takes the blade of a grass and he beheads the Romanchana. So when he does it, everybody is like confused what Balramji has done. But in his own way, if you get into the details in his own way, he is right. But then it was said that this Romanchana Sutta was given the benediction of a long life. So how that can be false? So Balramji says that can be extended to his son, Sutta Goswami. So that is how Sutta Goswami, a lot of other qualities of the Romanchana Sutta and the different rishis interested or blessed Sutta Goswami with those blessings. That is how Sutta Goswami becomes qualified to speak about the Bhagavatam. So, of course, here it is said that the Puranas and the Itihasas are the fifth Vedas, but there are many staunch Vedantists. They consider that this is not part of the Vedas, and they think only what is Shruti is the only thing which is directly have come from Krishna. So they do not give much of a heed. But if you see today, this kind of a huge knowledge, it is indifferential to us or inconsequential to us, because to access it, first of all, we should know the Sanskrit, and not everything has been translated. It is also said that almost 95% of the knowledge in the Vedas has already been lost. There are a lot of attacks, and the disciples were not interested, or whatever the disciplic succession was broken, and things like that. So this is 95% is lost, and hardly even less than 5% which is left over now. But it is said that although everything is lost, but if you have the Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita, nothing is lost, because Bhagavatam has come and the maturity, of the Vedas. After he has written everything, basically has written it. So he has made a point that all the principles of the Vedas have been assimilated in the Bhagavatam. So we can say that in a way that all the knowledge in the Vedas which was there, it is also available today, provided we access the Bhagavatam. It is also said by the Prabhupada that only learned Brahmanas, with a statement that there is a restriction that no one should try to learn the Vedas who is not qualified Brahmana. So Brahmanas were the actual teachers of the society. Right? So previously all things were interested to the Brahmanas because they had the qualities. We see the teachers of the Pandavas were the military science was taught by Dronacharya, right, to different Pandavas. He was not a Kshatriya. He was living in a small hut. He had only one cow at that particular time, but he had the whole knowledge, the Vidya, the science of military. He was the Brahmanas. He had this particular knowledge because he had the access to these all Vedas. When if you see the Parshuramji had given this knowledge of Brahmastra to Karna, but he took it back, or he given the counter curse to Karna, because he posed himself as a Brahmana and tried to get that particular mantras of the Brahmastra, but he said that when you want, you will not get it, kind of a thing, because he falsified himself as a Brahmana. Even if you see the Chanakya Pandit, he was a minister, but he was staying in a simple hut. Like it is the story of the Chanakya Pandit, he was so expert in the Arthashastra and how to use things. Once he was once he was around and somebody asked him that I have got some work with you, can I come and see you? So he says, why not? And that person comes and tries to meet him basically in his hut. So Chanakya asked him one question that is your work or business is related to the kingdom, or it is a personal work which you have with me? So he said it is a personal work. So when he says that just wait for a minute. And then he was writing some letter or something like that of some, about the kingdom related or the reign related. He completes that, and then he puts off the candle which was lit, it was blown there or it was blazing there. He puts it out, and he takes another candle, he lights it, and then he asks him that, what is that you have with me to discuss? Now this person who has come to ask or do some business with, discuss something with the Chanakya Pandit, he get confused basically. What did he just do, because he has taken the one candle which was anyway lit, and he has put out, and he has taken the second candle and he has, he's lit that. So he asked him that what is it basically. So he says that this particular candle is for, I use it when I do my office related work or the business related work. And when I do my personal work, I have another candle. So this basically shows that how meticulous and particular the Brahmanical knowledge is basically. They would want to have that simplicity and very careful about how to use the resources. So this is one of the qualities of the Brahmanas. So previously, and it was not like previously they used to, the job is basically to teach the society, but in the Kali Yuga, so knowledge, of course, everything has got corrupted now. But previously it was not like that, and it is just based on the birth. Now it is said somebody is Brahman or somebody is not Brahman. So Prabhupada says that if we need to have access to this knowledge, then we need to be a Brahmanically qualified. It's not talking about one has to be a Brahman by birth. So we should have to have the qualities of the Brahmanical qualities. So it is not same as taking the birth of the Brahmana family. So like for example, there is a lawyer. He has to have the qualification or the degree, and he also must be practicing lawyer. Then we will call him a lawyer. Or somebody is having a degree but is not practicing a lawyer. He's not a practicing lawyer. Then we will not call him a lawyer. And similarly, the doctor. He's got the degree. He's practicing it. Then we will call him a lawyer. He's got a degree. He's not practicing it. We will not call him a doctor. Likewise. Or somebody is practicing a medicine but he's not a qualified doctor, qualified medicine certified doctor, so he will not be called as a doctor. So anybody to become a Brahmana, he has to have the Brahmanical qualities, and he also must be doing the Brahmanical work. So in the Shastra there are some principles, some qualities of the Brahmanas have been described. So he said that firstly it has to be there's a shloka of course towards this, that Samo, Damas, Tapaha, Sucham, Saucham, Kshantir, Arjam, Evacham, Dhyanam, Vijnana, Astityam, Brahma, Karma, Swabhavajam. So the different qualities of the Brahmanas have been described. Because Shamaha, so he has to have the complete control on the mind. Damaha means he has to have the complete control on the senses. Tapaha, the austerities. So they should live, you see the Brahmanas typically in the previous times, they used to live not very extravagant life, they used to have a very simple lifestyle. Like Chanakya Pandit, we saw how he was a minister but he used to live in the huts. And many ministers like that, they, although it's called a Brahma Vranda advising the king, but they always used to have a very simple lifestyle. Saucham, they used to be clean. So not only externally clean but also clean the mind and words. Shanti, they used to be tolerant. Arjabam, they used to be honest and simple. Like Yudhishthira Maharaj, after the Kurukshetra war, he was very despondent that because of me, so many people have got died. So he donated whatever he has to Vyasadevji. And Vyasadeva said, very good, very nice. But then Vyasadeva was a Brahman, what did he do? What am I going to do with this? He returned it back to Yudhishthira Maharaj. Now Yudhishthira Maharaj, this is basically the custody of somebody else's property and they need to take care of. So that is basically the quality of the Brahmana, you can see at the Vyasadeva level. The Jnana, knowledge. So they were studying, so they were very intelligent. Vijnana is basically the wisdom. And Astika means they were theists. They were not the atheists, but they were the theists. So these were the qualities. But what was the work of the Brahmanas? So it is said that Yajan, Yajan, Padan, Patan, Dana, Pratigraha. So Yajan, Yajan means worship and teach how to worship or perform the worship on behalf of others. Padan, Patan, learn the Vedas and teach the Vedas. Dana, Pratigraha means accept and give the charity. So previously, like anybody now, if you go to the education system, any college or something like that, the fees is asked first. But that was not the way it was previously. Previously it was the jnana was given and then the Guru Dashina and the will of the Shishya used to be given to the Guru. Like even if there is a medicine, if somebody is getting treated from the Brahmana doctor, he will treat first and then whatever dakshina or donation he is to get it. Not like today you go to hospital, they'll first ask you to deposit some amount, and then the treatment starts. So it is like that. So this is how the qualities and the birth of the Brahmanas used to be. So the Sattva Guna, what you say, has to be there, or it is there primarily to the Brahmanas. So Prabhupada says that to access the Vedas, it is very important to have the Sattva Guna, so that, and we need to have the access to that, so that we should have the Brahmanical qualities developed in it. So Prabhupada, we see that when he was going to US, so he was, when you see the skyline, he was praying to Krishna that these people in the US and Europe, they are in the mode of passion and ignorance. So how am I going to please them? So you have brought me here. So you have to show how to get these people to mode of goodness. How do we transform them from mode of passion and ignorance to the goodness? Because unless they have developed some qualities of the goodness, it is not possible to have the access of this particular knowledge. So Krishna says in the 15.15 that Vedesha Sarver Aham Eva Vedya, means Vedas are to know me, I am to be known from the Vedas. So of course we see that how goodness was prevalent in the Satya Yuga, and slowly the four pillars of the dharma has broken, and today's time is such that no good qualities have been left. So Vasudeva is writing these Puranas and the Mahabharatas, so the people in the mode of passion and ignorance can also access the Vedic knowledge. So most of the, if you see ourselves that, if we have a free time, what do we do? There's a survey has been done basically that when the people have got the free time, they primarily do what? They go for the sleeping, or they go for a vacation, or they go for a drink, or they watch the movie or TV. If we categorize this, sleeping is a mode of ignorance, going for the vacation is a mode of passion, drinking is mode of ignorance again, and watching the TV is again a mode of ignorance. So most of the activities we do in the today's time, they are in these particular categories. So hardly anybody is doing any Sattva-guna qualities. So if you do not have it, it becomes very difficult to access this particular shastras. So that is the reason why Puranas and Mahabharatas were written by the Vasudeva. So people who are in the mode of passion or who are in the mode of ignorance can also access these shastras, and they are written in such a way that they might be in the story form, there might be a chivalry, there might be a romance into that, but hidden are the principles of the Vedas into it. So that is the important thing. So Bhagavad Purana, the Srimad Bhagavatam, is called Amala Purana, the spotless scripture, and one should take shelter of it today. And it is available for everybody, whosoever, whatever the mode we are in. And that is the essence of the Vedas. So those are the two things I have to share. So anybody has any comment we can discuss? Or we can stop. Okay, Srimad Bhagavatam, Jai Shri Prabhupada.